Be Kind Rewind videos. I look out.
All right, y'all, let's hear it. This is our final segment, man. We're on this week's Be Kind Rewind. And on this week's Be Kind Rewind, we're talking about Rocky, man. We're taking it back to the film that proves you don't have to win to be a champion. With the I Play Rocky trailer giving us a look at Sylvester Stallone's own underdog journey to get the film made. This is the perfect time for us to rewind it back to the 1976 classic and revisit the movie that started it all and made Sylvester Stallone a megastar. And that film is Rocky, man. Rocky is like one of those films, man. It's definitely the underdog story, man, and one of the greatest sports film ever made, man.
That's right, man. So, Rocky is the story of Rocky Balboa, an underdog Philadelphia club fighter and debt collector who gets a rare shot at a heavyweight title fight, man. So, like you say, it's that underdog, getting that opportunity. And like you said, not to, you don't have to always win to be a champion. You have to give it all that you got. And Rocky Balboa proves that if you give it all that you got, you can be at the top.
Totally agree.
Yeah, it was about self-respect. It was about perseverance, going the distance when nobody else believes in you but yourself.
That's right.
Which is a lot of the things that we was showcased in that trailer for I Play Rocky, which mimicked Sylvester Stallone's own story and his own journey. Because like essentially it was almost like he wasn't even playing Rocky. He was playing himself as Rocky.
Yeah.
If you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Because it was his story. Rocky was actually his story, minus the boxing. It was just it was his story of wanting to become an actor. And so like no one was giving him opportunities. And so he wrote this story for himself to play the titular role of Rocky, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And I mean, and then just like you're saying, man, going back, even the new trailer for, I Play Rocky makes you look at the film itself in a whole new light, especially if you did not know the story of how this film came about. And like I said earlier, I did not know the story of how this film came about. And now to know that story and go back and watch this film, it gives it to you in a whole new light, man. To see, like you said, this is his story, minus the boxing, but it shows the perseverance and the determination and hard work that it takes to become whatever you want to become in life, man. And that's what this story tells.
I mean,
he turned down some big checks in order to, because he believed in himself. And again, Rocky is the ultimate underdog because, like you said, Johnny, he was like a bouncer or something like he was a debt collector.
Yeah, he was a debt collector.
And even his own manager, who Burgess Meredith, who played Mickey, he didn't even believe in him that much. He thought he was a bum.
Yeah.
And then and the thing about it is like he didn't come back around until he got this title shot from Apollo.
Yeah.
If you remember the story of Rocky, man, he didn't come back around until the end and start training him seriously. But once he did, like they formed this bond. From that. But man, you look at the cast, man, the casting of Carl Weathers. Carl Weathers was perfect as a Apollo Creed, man. And I'm hoping they show that in the I Play Rocky, how he got the role, because when he was brought in to audition, I don't know if you guys know the story, but when he was brought in to audition for Apollo Creed, I guess he kept stumbling, and he was actually doing the reads with Sylvester Stallone. And one of the things he said was like, well, if you guys give me a real actor, then, I can do a little bit better. Not knowing that Sylvester Stallone was actually the guy that was playing Rocky, man. So it was, that was kind of how the relationship started, man. But it's just like what started from there end up being this incredible journey, because you got to see these two in 3 other additional films, man. And, Rocky went on to become this great mega franchise. Everything from the first Rocky to the second, third, and fourth, and multiple on to like now we're in the Creed series, and as we discussed earlier, there's going to be a Creed spinoff for Amazon Prime. So man, it's just like the this story has endured, and lasted for generations, man, because Rocky is getting ready to hit its 50th year anniversary. It was released in 1976, and with I Play Rocky coming on the heels of that anniversary, man, I think this is like the perfect time to talk about this film, because Rocky went on to win Best Picture. Again, you know, we saw it launch so many careers such as Sylvester Stallone and Carl Weathers. And man, it was just like, it's just again, we said it earlier, but it's the ultimate underdog story. And it's about believing yourself. Right. And the thing is, even though at the end, and it was one of the first films that you saw that at the end, the main lead did not win. Like Rocky did not win the fight, but he won the fight in life. And without sounding too cheesy, because he believed in himself. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and he made it to a spot where he took the world champion to a time limit, to all the way the distance. He went the distance with the like, even though Apollo won, like he went the distance. He didn't get knocked out. He lasted. Like he's just this nobody. You know what I mean? Like from everybody's eyes, he's just this nobody. Apollo was supposed to just wipe the floor with. Like he was just supposed to knock him out like first round. But he went the distance, and because he believed in himself.
Let me.
And so sometimes that's what it takes. It just takes believing in yourself.
I think y'all said it best, and I think, you know, the words that come to my mind, 4 words, you know, is "Eye of the Tiger." You know, and I think the idea of being able to, especially if you watch the other Rockies, you see the importance of having that, right? And I think that's kind of, everybody can connect in with that doing the underdog story, right? Sometimes you get so caught up that you lose yourself in not knowing how you got there in the first place, right? That hunger, that going without, eating, drinking, changing your whole lifestyle for your dream. That was something that Rocky was willing to do because that's all he had. Same thing goes with Sylvester Stallone. When you see an I Play Rocky trailer, you see that's all he had was that script. That was it. And so, there's so many people from any culture you're from, you're black, white, you're Mexican, like, Cuban, whatever. It doesn't matter. African, whatever. Like, we all understand coming from nothing. And I think Rocky, it connected. It was definitely the American dream. And I feel like the reason why that story and that movie is so powerful still today is because that's what it is. It's America. And I feel like it explained, even when you start getting into Apollo Creed story, which if people haven't caught the similarities, but it's Muhammad Ali, right? That storyline, I think is just I think it's dope to just see a man that he loved his family, and he stood on business, and he didn't shy away from the cameras or the critics or none of that. Apollo stood on business, and for him to be the counterpart from Rocky face to face, I think it made sense to tell that story, and it's definitely something I think we can take notes from and learn from, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, sure. Definitely.
Sure. Johnny, you got any other thoughts on this week's Be Kind Rewind?
Man, Rocky is an amazing film. It's a classic. If you have not seen it in a while, please go and watch it. You can watch it on Netflix. If you have a Netflix account, it's out there. And man, just always remember to believe in yourself. That's the story of Rocky. That's Sylvester Stallone's story as well. Believe in yourself. Go out there and get it. You may get knocked down. You may get beat up. But you're gonna get the eye of the right people. The right people are gonna watch you, and then they'll give you that opportunity to come back and fight again. So yeah,
exactly, man.